Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome here to the Chicagoland Speedway for tonight's Chicagoland 135, round number 3 of the PitPassNetwork.com ARCA series here on the Elite Racing Network. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me here shortly is Chris Wright, as always, of course, last season's champion. And qualifying has just wrapped up here at Chicagoland. On the pole, newcomer out of the Dominican Republic, driving the number 05 machine, is June White on the outside of row number 1. The 91 of returning driver Trey Eidson. Jake Kaner in car number 9 on the inside of row number 2 with a Leighton Norgard in the 12 on the outside. Mark Murphy in the 69 and Ray Bracey in the 7 make up row number 3. Hunter Smith in the 54 and Colin Culpa in the 06 make up row number 4. Wyatt Canadle, winner of the season opener in car number 1 on the inside of row number 5 with William White in the 43 on the outside. Row number 6, Michael Hossack in the 24 with Jess Story in the 29 on the outside. Row number 7, Jacob Adams in the 52 with Tyler Skordensky in car number 07 on the outside. Row number 8, Mark Rabilis in the 99 with Jamie Haley in the 02 on the outside. Row number 9, Michael Goodman in the 44 with Andrew Hardcastle in the 22. Rounding out the top 20, Cash James in car number 93 and Alex Gray in the 81. Just outside the top 10 in row 11 is Randy Canadle in the 33 with Robert Smith in car number 97 on the outside. Row number 12, Andres Nunez in the 77 with Garrett Sidnor in the 50 making his debut. Starting 25th tonight, Cam Barnes in car number 88 with Harold Darner in the 82 machine. John Peterson and Kendall Player make up row number 14. Row 15 tonight, the 31 of Connor Thompson. And rounding out the field is Jaden Racimus in car number 19. Taking a look at some of the information leading into tonight's race. Of course, we do have 77 degrees of ambient temperature, 56% relative humidity. The track temperature currently 103 degrees Fahrenheit, and that will pick up as we go along. 90 laps coming at you tonight, no stages, and just 3 sets of tires. Let's take a look down at the grid as the field is working their way around the racetrack for the first time here tonight. They are underway for their formation lap. A couple drivers falling to the rear of the field due to some banner violations, meaning they do not have the correct banner on the machine. Those are Connor Thompson, Cash James, as well as Randy Canadle and Mark Rabilis. They will have to work their way up from the rear of the field. Chris Wright joining us now in the booth. Chris, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to watch the action here in the ARCA series, doing a Gen 4 tonight. One of the handful that they're doing. I can't wait to see what happens, see the tire fall off, the strategy, and everything that's going to go into tonight. Pretty excited about Elite getting back going here. We've had a couple weeks off. Ready to get back at it. Tune in all for this ARCA race. Got the Daytona stuff starting next week for the Cup Series. It's a pretty exciting time right now in Elite.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, first race with the Gen 4, and we're about to get underway here at Chicagoland. The pace car should make the sharp left-hand turn onto pit road. Here we go. As we head off into the Geico restart zone, June White is your pole sitter and the control car. Green flag, and we are underway well past the Geico restart zone, actually. So a little interesting there, Chris. But before we get too deep into tonight's race, why don't we go ahead and make some race picks? I'll let you kick us off.
Well, I talked to a couple drivers here in the pre-race. One driver was feeling pretty confident. So I guess I'll pick Jake Adams to win tonight. I think he was talking about how confident he was in race trim. Didn't qualify quite as good as he wanted to, but I have a feeling based on what we've seen this season that Jake is going to be a factor in this race.
Yeah, Jacob Adams having to come from the midfield, starting 15th, so directly in that midfield. Actually, I do stand corrected. Started 13th here on the grid, so pretty much smack dab in the middle. I'm going to go with somebody that started a little bit closer to the front here tonight. Somebody that's shown a lot of pace throughout their time here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series Season 1, a former winner of Race in Our Truck Series at Tsukuba. I'm going to go with the 7 of Ray Bracey here tonight. I think Ray can get it done here on the oval at Chicagoland.
Yeah, and it's a pretty exciting start. We're seeing multiple lines at work here. I think the guys that are able to run the bottom right now are probably going to be a little better off on the longer run if this were to go long here to start. The quicker you move up, the more you're going to abuse the tires, the right front, the right rear. So I'm watching to see who can kind of paint that white line, who can stay low and hang with it here. I think those are the guys that you're going to have to beat tonight.
We're watching a battle a little bit further back in the field. Jamie Haley in the 0-2 machine under fire from Garrett Sidnor in the 50. Sidnor making his debut here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series, running that blue number 50. He's running all the way up at the wall here. Jamie Haley was up in that middle lane, and you can see how close these drivers get off the corner. Not a lot of space to work with, but still some great battles. And looking a little bit further up, looks like Hunter Smith and William White going door to door. Jess Story up in that battle as well. Looks like they're going to dive to the inside of Colin Culpa. So pretty much a 5-car battle here is White Canado there. Actually, here comes Jacob Adams to make it 6.
Yeah, we're nearly 3 wide there. It's pretty exciting right now. You can see any line can work, and we'll see that all night long. This is a great track. Chicagoland's a great mile and a half. It's old. It's used up. It's really bumpy. You can run from the top to the bottom. Like I said before, if you can run the bottom and survive, I think that's the guy that's going to be able to make it work on the longer run. But at the same time, in all this traffic, you kind of got to go where they're not. If the bottom's covered, you got to move up. If they're moving up to the middle, you got to move to the top.
Oh, we got contact. Bit of contact there. That is Jess Story and Hunter Smith making contact. Story running the bottom, slides up into the Hunter Smith number 54 machine. One thing to point out, I do see Cam Barnes in the 88. He's ripping that high side. Currently up 11 positions from his starting spot of 25th. Currently running in 14th, about to make a look or take a look.
Jake Adams here going 3 wide all the way on
Michael
the 8
Hossack. Yes, Jake Adams running down low. But one thing to point out and remind folks, only 3 sets of tires tonight. So that does include the set on these cars. With 90 laps on the docket, these drivers have to make each set last about 30 laps. And Chris, that can be a tall task, especially when this Gen 4 car does welcome the really racy conditions, side by side, door to door, 3 wide, slinging it inside, outside, middle, wherever you want to go. The Gen 4 will welcome it, but it comes at a cost as well with your rubbers.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Some of these guys might be trying to 2-stop it, 1-stop it. I would personally be trying to 1-stop it and run to at least halfway and then pit and have a set left for later. You know, it's nice to have 3 sets, but at the same time, you don't want to just use up the sets because you got them.
That's exactly it, Chris. And just taking a look here, a couple drivers have moved around a little bit. Actually, we'll watch William White here. He dives to the inside of Mark Murphy. Colin Culpa looking up at the high side. Culpa gets a little bit slideways. So he's able to catch it just ahead of Jess Story and Hunter Smith. They continue to battle side by side. But just to point out, June White making their debut here tonight in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. First start for that number 05 machine, and they started on the pole, fell back to 4th immediately. You got to wonder if maybe they're just trying to save their stuff a little bit. We'll have to keep our eyes on that 05. They're just running ahead of Ray Bracey in car number 7, and of course my pick here tonight. But another gaggle and more contact. Hunter Smith and Jess Story not giving each other much space out here on the racetrack whatsoever.
Yeah, and those 2 guys are running really hard. They've been side by side. Feels like all 10 laps so far. I think Hunter is probably a little better on the bottom, but Jess is able to hold him up right now. Eventually, Jess is not going to be able to hang out up there. Jake Adams looking to go to the very top here.
Jacob
I don't
Adams
think he's quite going to be there.
to the top.
Jake's
He's in the wall. He's definitely there. Just no opportunity to get in front of those guys. Gets a little bit of contact with the outside wall. We'll see if we can grab a shot of that right side as he comes off of turn number 4. Does appear to be okay.
He's probably pretty frustrated with the qualifying effort. He hasn't figured out that 1-lap speed to qualify just yet. That's something he's been struggling with all season. So he's just trying to get a little impatient here, and instead of waiting and trying to find something there in that top of 3, and it just really wasn't there.
So as we've been watching the midfield battles, Trey Eidson has taken over the race lead ahead of a Leighton Norgard, Jay Kaner, June White, Ray Bracey. That's your top 5. William White in 6th. Mark Murphy 7th. The battle now is Hunter Smith and Colin Culpa. Culpa holding on to 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Jess Story. Story dives back to the inside. Just as soon as we thought the battle was over between Story and Smith, well, we got to a new chapter with these two. As now the battle is Culpa and Story.
Now. Hunter's going to go. He's going to set sail away from him here.
Now, taking a look a little bit further back, we did talk to a couple guys pre-race. Kendall Noah Player making his first start here in the number 94 machine. He is up 8 spots, so a respectable start here for Kendall, working his way through the field, just trying to get the seat time. Kendall's been out of the seat for quite some time, Chris, as you know, and seat time's really, really important.
Yeah, when you're not racing every week and not running every week with these guys, it's difficult to step back in and kind of get back to the very top of your game. It's like anything else, playing basketball, playing football, whatever your activity is. When you're not racing, you're not honing your craft. You're not used to what's going to happen after 10 laps, after 20 laps, and some of the decisions you have to make about 3 wide and what moves to make, what moves not to make. It's something that if you're not doing it every week, it's hard to step back in. So hopefully he steps back in for more than one race here and runs a streak of races and gets more comfortable and back to being able to make those moves that we know Kendall's capable of making.
Absolutely. As we watch the battle here again in that midfield, it is Jacob Adams and Jess Story running side by side. These two are teammates on the Mountain Man Motorsports side. Of course, Chris, that being your team that you're part of now on the Cup side. Jess Story up on the wall. Here comes Wyatt Canadle up through the middle. Jess Story trying to collect that machine. But yeah, this is your team on the Cup side. I own the team. You drive for the team. So watching your teammates here. That's right. We're in the trucks this season with you. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. A new team here, and I have no problems with my old team. It was great over at Lake Norman. Great running.
Absolutely.
With Fody,
shout out to Fody and the folks over there. Just an update. Andres Nunez heads pit side after contact with the outside wall.
But I'm excited. I'm ready to go win some races for Mountain Man. We're going to win some races together this season, right?
Absolutely. That's the plan, Chris. It all kicks off actually Monday night. You and I will be behind the wheel of our cars in the Clash at Daytona. I'm not sure who's broadcasting that. It's not us, but we'll be behind the wheel. I'm starting 3rd. Where are you starting in that race?
I'm starting back in the teens, I believe, somewhere. Maybe 13th, 16th, right in there.
It's Daytona, though. You could start dead last and still win that thing.
Yeah, I'm more excited about getting ready to qualify, running for the front row, running for the duels. I'm excited about getting the whole thing started.
The fun part of it, working your way. Battle's on here, by the way. Wyatt Canadle, Jacob Adams battling for position number 9. But the nice thing I find about Daytona is the prestige of it. You run the qualifying, then you go to the duels. If you could put yourself on the front row, that is such a cool moment. And then you get to race it out in the duels and have some fun.
Yeah, and it's always exciting, a little nerve-wracking if you're one of the guys without a charter. But
I've been there. I think you've been there as well. I think we both missed the race one time.
Yeah, that is true. We've both been there and missed the race. I ended up being able to get in because of a late decision by somebody not being able to race, but it's going to be fun. The duels are exciting. The race last year sticks with me as a team. We did a poor job at the end at the white flag. I felt like myself or Nick or somebody that was on the team, we worked so well together last year, and we took the white flag with 4 of us in the top 5, and by the time we got to turn 1, I think most of us were wrecked. So it's a race I'd love to win. It's one of those big events that you want to win. So
yeah, for me, Chris, you guys ended up wrecking late at the white flag last year. And I actually took the lead from you, and unfortunately a bump gone wrong from actually the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series race controller Jonathan Cutlip. He tried to push me, and we just didn't get lined up properly. It knocked me down out of the way. Finished 7th in that one. That definitely felt like a race lost, and I'm going to go for it this year. We'll see what we can do. And if Corey Abbott was here, I'd point out that he won the Truck Series race last year with a push from me. But hey, shout out to Corey anyways. as we take a
Yeah,
look.
while we're giving shout out to everybody at Elite Racing Network, everybody at ERN who does such a great job. Dave's not here
Absolutely.
tonight, but his schedule is about to get busy once again. So shout out to everybody over there, everybody at Pit Pass Network who does this series. And I know Cash is out there running. I know you're here. I know everybody's watching too. Everybody at Pit Pass Network always tunes in and watches and roots for Cash. So hopefully Cash can have himself a good race tonight.
As Cash nearly wrecks Connor Thompson towards the rear of the field, Cash wasn't too confident. And Chris, how do you feel about this being on the racetrack? Number 42 machine here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series.
That's brings back some good memories. I think that car won a championship last year, that number, didn't it?
It absolutely did, with some driver from Ohio or Iowa or Idaho, something. That guy, I think his name was Chris Wrong, picked up the victory in this series. Colin Kalpa had some contact with the outside wall. He's falling back through the field now. He finds himself back in 17th. And just taking a look at drivers working their way up through the field. William White up 6 spots already. He's worked his way to 4th. Cam Barnes up 12 positions to 13th. Just behind him, Garrett Sidnor up 10 spots. Michael Goodman just behind them. He's up a handful of spots as well. Kendall Player up 9. John Peterson in that 42 up 7. And Connor Thompson up 6 positions. Biggest loser thus far of the drivers that did not have EOLs, Tyler Skordensky has dropped 10 positions on the racetrack.
It's been a tough go of it lately for Goody there in that 44 machine. Hopefully they can have a good run tonight, get that Volkswagen up front, and not tear it up. You know, their Volkswagen, you know, these cars are getting torn up quicker than they can fix them and get them sent back. So he needs a good run, a clean race, and be able to keep running the same Volkswagen for a while.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what Michael Goodman can do. And just taking a look at the scoring tower, we are at lap 25 now, so about 5 away from the minimum window for these tires on these cars. We were expecting about 30 laps per set, being that we only have 3 sets and it's a 90-lap race. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone dives down right on lap 30 or tries to extend it a little bit more so you can go a handful less laps a little bit later on in the race. But taking a look at a battle up here inside the top 10, 7th place car, Ray Bracey in the 7, trying to hold off Mark Murphy, or as we called him last year, Murph Markey in the 69, everyone's favorite insurance adjuster.
We got one in the wall here on the front stretch. Not sure who that was. 88 maybe?
I believe that to be Cam Barnes. Chris, we mentioned earlier that Cam had been working his way up rather quickly through the field, and now he's going the other way after some contact. Colin Kalpa very sideways just behind him here, so I think the tires are starting to show their age out here.
Oh, we got
on
another one in the
racetrack.
wall right in front of Jess Story.
That does appear to be the Garrett Sidnor machine. So Barnes and Sidnor had both worked their way up through the field, about the same amount of positions, 10 to 12, and now both have had contact with that outside wall. So I definitely think the hard charge might not be the strategy at this point in the race, and it's led to some unfortunate experiences for these drivers. And just taking a look at some battles.
Abusing the tires, too. You know, and I saw the 88 for sure was ripping the fence before anybody else.
Cam was up there almost right away. Oh, yeah, my gosh.
That's what happens. When you rip the fence like that, you use the tires up more, and if you don't have a caution to catch you on the other side, it backs up just as quick.
Absolutely. And just taking a look on the racetrack, we did just have a bit of a blink issue for William White, able to catch it, but now he is catching the Leighton Norgard number 12 machine.
Jess Story's in trouble here on the back straight.
Jess Story does look okay, Chris. Able to continue on. Lost one spot to Garrett Sidnor.
Something happened off of 2, and Jess went all the way down to the apron.
Jess does appear to be okay. I think he might have just got a little bit slideways out on the racetrack. Battle's right on for 3rd here.
The right front on that Jess Story machine is pretty destroyed.
We'll keep an eye on Jess, see if he ends up taking it pit side, which he would be in that window now.
I think Mark's pitting right here. Mark's going to be pitting.
Mark Murphy taking it down. First one to bite. The 69 machine of Mark Murphy. He's going to come down, grab some tires, some fuel, maybe repair a bit of damage and come back out. Colin Culpa also taking a pit side in his number 06 machine. He's going to go to the attention of his Apollo pit crew and see what they can do with that number 06 machine. I do think we might be seeing more guys coming down here in the next lap or two. We'll keep an eye on that, and as soon as we see it, we'll report it to you. But battle's on for third. William White on the high side of Leighton Norgard down on the bottom. Norgard gets back in line up on the high side, trying to rip it with William White. Jess Story takes it pit side, as does Alex Gray. Gray now at the attention of his pit crew. We'll see what happens with Jess Story. Right front does look a little bit beat up, as you mentioned, Chris. We'll see how long Jess does spend on pit road. But taking a look, Trey Eidson, your race leader, he's coming around to put these guys one lap down. His fourth place car, a Leighton Norgard, slides into pit road.
Norgard had a pretty good truck season last season, if I remember correctly. I remember being in the booth for his first win at Homestead. That's a guy that's lit a fire over the end of last season.
Cash James also pit side. Yeah, Leighton Norgard, I do believe he was a playoff driver in the truck series last season and put on quite a show. He did a great job. He's showing steady improvement week after week after week in the series. William White now heads pit side in his number 43. Another driver just looking for that breakthrough victory. And Chris, we're going to see a heck of a lot more William White this season, as he is going to be taking part in the truck series and I believe the Grand National Series as well, with Abbott Motorsports. Corey Abbott's team will be fielding the William White driver in those series. So it's going to be great to see William out there with us, as he is currently scored in position 22. June White trying to hold off Hunter Smith. Hunter Smith got a little bit slideways on the inside of June there. June, of course, making their debut in the number 05 machine. That's my number. Interesting to see. Andrew Hardcastle now pit side. Robert Smith also coming down in his number 97 machine, looking to get some fresh tires on that car.
One thing I do want to hit home here, Trey Eidson, he is pulled away over 2 seconds. That's a guy that had a lot of speed last year. Some things happened at different times to keep him out of victory lane, but that's a guy with a lot of speed, and this maybe it's his coming out race here. We're going to see more of what Trey Eison's got the rest of the season here in the ARCA series.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what Trey Eidson can do. He was very strong, like you mentioned.
Jay's a guy that won last season.
Yeah, Jay Kaner, very strong as well. And just to point out, folks, this is a lapped car on the high side. That is Alex Gray unlapping himself around, actually putting himself, I believe, 3 laps down. He was multiple laps down. Hunter Smith and Garrett Sidnor have both entered the pits now. They are coming to the attention of their pit crew. But you're going to see a mixture here. You're going to see guys that are trying to unlap themselves, put them back either 1 lap, 2 lap, 3 lap, or on the lead lap with those fresh tires. But just kind of taking a look through the field. I want to give a shout out to Randy Knadel, okay? This guy, oh, someone just smashed the wall there as Jay Kaner comes pit side. But Randy Knadel wanted something to do to get to have more time with his son Wyatt Knadel, who of course,
Ray Bracey's wrecked on pit entry here.
Looks like he just went for a slide, Chris. I believe he is okay. But
man, if he didn't hit the wall, that was incredible. I thought he hit the wall for sure. That thing started spinning.
Let's see if we can pull that up here, and then we'll get back to Randy Knadel.
And while we're waiting for this replay to come up, I have been told by multiple teams that they cannot get to halfway on fuel. They're going to be about 5 laps short or so.
Ray did tail slap the wall there, so unfortunately some damage for Ray Bracey. He's going to be able to come back out onto the racetrack as John Peterson heads pit side. But as I was saying, Randy Knadel trying to do something to connect with his son Wyatt Knadel. Got iRacing, is very, very new to this, but decided to give the Pit Pass Network ARCA series a try, and he's held his own out there. He's not running in the top 10 on pace as of yet or anything like that, but he's out here putting laps down, and I want to give a shout out to him and everyone that does that. You know, anytime you have an opportunity just to put laps in, like we mentioned earlier, seat time is crucial. And we have lots of drivers doing just that here in the ARCA series. As Tyler Skordensky and Harold Darner both up to come down pit road. Some fresh tires going on those machines. And here comes your leader, Trey Eidson.
Ooh, that was pretty hot. We'll see if he got through it okay. But like I said, these guys do not appear to be able to get to halfway from what I'm told. So,
yeah, as you can see, Eidson came down 4 laps shy of halfway. Here comes Jacob Adams down pit road as well. Yeah, 4 laps shy of that halfway mark. Just a little bit short on fuel. If only they could fill the roll bars with some fuel. That's a bit of a shout out to my buddy Mike Husby, who has made that line a few times. Leader now, June White in the 05, ahead of Wyatt Knadel in the 1 car. Michael Hosick in the 24. Mike Goodman in the 44. Here comes Hosick down pit road. Cam Barnes in the top 5 in the 88. He comes down pit road. I'd expect the rest of the field to come down next time by, as Jamie Haley and Connor Thompson also up to come to the attention of their pit crews.
June White, Wyatt Knadel, Michael Goodman, Kendall Player. These are all guys. These are our 4 guys that are still running. June's going to go another lap.
Randy Knadel and Mark Rabilas also drivers that have not pit. Here comes Wyatt Knadel down pit road. Michael Goodman Judy coming down as well. We are in the midst.
I'm looking at Kendall Noah Player. I'm looking at June White. These are the 2 guys. If it goes green, they have went far enough that I think
we're still a few laps shy of halfway here, Chris. Watching June White. June's staying on the track. He's trying to save some fuel here. Let's see if that ends up working out. Kendall Player, Mark Rabilas, both as well, also on the save train.
I think if they do another lap, they can save this on the other end.
We'll take a look. We'll keep our eyes out here. It's going to all come down to strategy unless we get a late caution. I think watch June White here. Looks like he's slowing up a little bit. He's still... here he comes. June White to pit road.
He can do it from here. He can do it from here, I think.
We're not halfway yet, Chris. We're 2 laps shy.
Yeah, well, 1 lap. They're going to make that 1 lap on pit road. They're going to come out and complete the halfway lap. But remember, at the start of the race, Kendall. they had a parade lap. So that's going to kind of level... They only need to save... They need to save about the same amount in the next run. And I think they can do it. I think both these guys are going to make it.
This is the battle for the race lead now. It is a Leighton Norgard and William White doing battle here. Mark Rabilas also coming down pit road as we watch William White dive down to the inside. He's looking for a way to close that gap on a Leighton Norgard and work his way up towards that race lead. You see it here from our drone camera, of course, flown tonight by David Huckleberry, the great Huck up here flying this drone for us, getting these great shots out on the racetrack. Mark Murphy has worked his way up to 3rd with his pit strategy. Jay Kaner 4th, Hunter Smith in 5th, Trey Eidson 6th.
Wreck-It on the back, Jess Story, the 88. Oh, Michael Goodman's involved. No caution. Somebody, Cam Barnes is barrel rolling. We are going to stay green.
Wow.
All this happened off track.
Wow. Caution is now out.
That's a race control caution. So they threw it. John threw it.
I am shocked that did not bring out a caution. You know what the crazy part of this is, Chris? This incident just happened, and it is not even pinging on our tracker of incidents. There it is. Just found it here. Looks like it starts around Mike Goodman.
I believe it's going to start with Jess Story. Goodman comes along late. This starts with Jess Story in the 88.
Oh! Taking a look here on the Rabilas Photography replay machine. Watch. Oh, Jess Story just clears himself up into Cam Barnes. Barnes nowhere to go. Michael Goodman also just an innocent bystander. We're going to have to watch multiple views here.
Watch this car tumble.
We'll watch Michael Goodman first here, Chris. Now we're going to go to Cam Barnes. And we're actually... I'm going to give a dizziness warning here, folks. We're going to go on board with Cam Barnes. Barnes up and over and over. Still going over, guys. Cam Barnes, he's tossing salad in there with how much that thing just went for a big tumble. Cam Barnes definitely out for the day. I do believe Mike Goodman will be out as well. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on the Elite Racing Network. When we come back, we'll try to catch up with Michael Goodman and see what he saw out there. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes' time.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here at Chicagoland under the first caution after a multi-car incident between Jeff Story, Cam Barnes, and Michael Goodman. Standing by with Chris Wright is Michael Goodman, and I'm going to send it over to Chris now to get Goody's perspective of that incident.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to make an interview I didn't want to have to make tonight. Michael, what happened out there? Take us through your race. It looked like you were steadily moving up, and we got another destroyed Volkswagen out there, so tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the Volkswagens are not having a good week, that's for sure. But I think the 06 is a Volkswagen too, so we can root for him. If I don't know if he's in good shape yet, but yeah, I don't know. I was in the pack with those guys. You know, on the longer runs, I felt like I was doing pretty decent. And there was something going on between the 29. I think he got loose and got into the 88, and I think he thought it was intentional or something along those lines, and it just plainly waited for him on the track and got his revenge, which kind of the Mickey Mouse BS, if you ask me.
Also, so we didn't even know that. So that was a hit job out there.
Yep, that was a hit job. That was 100% intentional.
Ooh, so we might see some penalties come down later this week. You have to watch the Twitter for that. But Goody, before we let you go, give you a chance to shout out your sponsors here, and hopefully you can find that Volkswagen in Victory Lane next week. Yeah,
hopefully you can get this thing a good run here. But yeah, I'd like to thank Thorogood Boots. Pretty good boots out there. But the main one in all the Elite Series, you can see that beautiful Miss Goody's car out there on the racetrack. And shout out to my mama. Hope she's watching. And yeah, hope these guys put on a pretty good show the rest of the way.
All right, thanks for talking to us, Goody, and good luck moving forward. Hopefully it gets better from here.
Yeah, hope so.
Well, folks, that was Michael Goodman, unfortunately caught up in that incident. Chris, we didn't know that it was a hit job there, but that is definitely something that will be reviewed by the administrators.
Yeah, after he said it was a hit job, it kind of made sense. It didn't look the greatest on the replay, so.
That was a very sharp turn up into the outside. You know, obviously, for me, I'm going to see this from multiple sides, of course. I'm going to have to hear out my driver, but also a driver in the series that I run, as we do see a battle for the lead Jay Kaner, William White, Trey Eidson all under a blanket. Jay Kaner rockets out to the lead, taking Trey Eidson with him. But as I was saying, I'm going to have to hear it from Jess. I'm going to have a discussion with him, see what happened from a team owner point of view, but also the administrative side, and we'll see what happens there. But any penalties will be announced later this week.
Yeah, and one thing we saw here under this caution, I know we were under commercial there, but we had a lot of guys pit for fuel only, but we had a lot of guys stay out too. Our front probably 10 or 12 cars did not pit, which kind of surprises me that they wouldn't come down and get fuel only to ensure that they can get to the end. A lot of guys were talking about 5-6 laps short, and I don't think one
first car to pit here, Chris, is the 6th place car of Jacob Adams. Came down for fuel only, and as you mentioned, we were under commercial break. We did hear from our friends at TA Services as well as iRacing.com. TA Services is a premier partner here in the Elite Racing League as well as Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, small business owners. Blue Egg is your biggest fan as well. Worldwide Technology Raceway, home to a 1.25-mile oval, a 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And, of course, PitPassNetwork.com, your home for all things NASCAR, from news to reviews and interviews. Check out PitPassNetwork.com. And a special shout-out again to Mark Robilis of RobilisPhoto.com for his support across all the Elite Series, including our replay machine here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series. Back down on the racetrack, it is a battle between Jacob Adams and William White for the top 5. Here comes a Leighton Norgard sneaking his way through on the bottom as well, moving William White a little bit further to the rear.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing here, Mark Murphy ran in the top 5 or 7, but by being the first guy to pit, he did not want to use up another set of tires here. And if I was in Mark's shoes, I'd have went ahead and gotten another set because he is free-falling through this field. Everybody pitted after he did. So he's got some of the oldest tires on the track, and it is
Chris,
showing.
As you see Jamie Haley get the wall there, but you mentioned pick up another set of tires. But if Mark took his tires here on this pit stop, he would have nothing left in the pits as Michael Goodman heads back pit side. But he would have nothing left in the pits.
But that's back to a decision he already made. I would have never decided to pit on lap 30. You know, tires mean too much to short pit, and then if one caution comes out, it puts you in this kind of a box. So I think if I was Mark, I'd already made that decision. I would have went ahead and got my tires right there.
Taking a look at the battle for position number 8 on the racetrack, Michael Hosick just got by Ray Bracey. Bracey falls back to 9th. Hosick up to 8th, and here comes Wyatt Knadel looking for his opportunity to work his way through. Spoke to him before the race tonight. He had never raced this Gen 4 car. It's a little bit different than the ARCA car that we typically race. The bodies look the exact same, but that's about it when it comes to this car. Few differences that affect the handling, and if you haven't raced this car before, you definitely have a bit of learning to do as we see a battle for second. June White and Jay Kaner battling for second. Kaner back to third. June White working their way back up through the field to position number 2. 32 laps to go here on lap number 59.
I'm going to tell you, the car I'm watching is the car behind. I think even somebody like June still has to save a little bit of fuel. The car that I'm watching and that is going to be good to the end, right behind Jake Adams. He waited way late to pit. He ran as far as he could, so he's got pretty fresh tires there. Not quite as fresh as June's, but and he pitted there and topped off the fuel tank. He's got more fuel in the tank. That's the car that I'm watching that I think can go hard the rest of this race.
Chris, I think you have to watch both cars here in this camera shot. Jacob Adams and a Leighton Norgard, both of them kind of on the same strategy here at this point. We'll actually take a look at the pit strategy board. You can see Jacob Adams has gone almost the longest, so the only one that really went a little bit longer was June White as well as Wyatt Knadel. But Jake Adams opted to come down, grab a bit of fuel, as did a Leighton Norgard. But Jacob seems to be running it a little bit more conservative right now compared to a Leighton. Jacob letting a Leighton go, getting back in line, just cruising around a little bit, trying to save some rubber, extend the life. So it's a nice short run to the end for that number 52 machine with a lot left to give.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing shakes out if there's not another caution.
Another battle back towards the rear. You'd mentioned Mark Murphy. He came down pit road. He has scored in 15th, down 10 spots from the start. He is just ahead of Garrett Sidnor in the 50. Sidnor actually looking to the outside. Mark Murphy comes up and chops the nose of the 50, closing that door as Sidnor looks back to the high side. Now going to take a look down to the inside. Murphy blocks that lane. Here comes Garrett Sidnor up on the high side. So we have battles all throughout the field, from a battle for second, which is actually third, is heating up. Jake Kaner with a Leighton Norgard. Norgard up on the high side. Kaner running that middle lane, slides up a little bit due to some looseness ahead of a Leighton Norgard. Norgard looks back to the high side. Mark Murphy, here he comes.
Yeah, here comes Mark.
Mark
See,
and Colin. Colin Kulpa also to pit road in his Volkswagen.
The rest of the field's not going to pit again.
28 to go, Chris. These guys are coming down for that final set. You're making your bed here. I don't like this idea.
You're making your bed on the Titanic after it hit the iceberg.
The Titanic or the Titan. One of the two, but
Titan's still too fresh. I don't think we can go there with the jokes yet.
Right.
But you're definitely on the Titanic right after they hit the iceberg.
Yeah, you're somewhere. You're not doing very well either way. But Y Canadal on the inside of Hunter Smith battling for 7th. Canadal currently has that edge, but Hunter Smith can have the advantage off the corner here, getting a run down the back straightaway into turn number 3, down the Brant straightaway here. Of course, shout out to Brant, great sponsor in NASCAR. Justin Allgaier's longtime sponsor. So
I'm very interested to see how this goes. See what happens. I think if a caution comes out, everybody's probably going to put their last set of tires on.
That's the thing. I mean, pitting with 26 to go, if we go another 12, 13, even 15 laps now and get towards that 10 to go mark, these guys are going to come down and take tires. And if you're Mark Murphy and Colin Kulpa, you have nothing left. And you're going to be at the rear of the field because now you're a lap down.
Yeah, it's a rough. Their shot to win this race is over.
It 100% is over, Chris. And, they're risking going an additional lap down depending on the pace of Trey Eidson. I think the new tires will play a bigger factor here and let them go as we do turn around to 25 to go. I don't like it. I don't like it, Chris. I think it was just not a great strategy call, but you kind of make your strategy based off that first pit stop, and that's what happened with those drivers in Murphy and Kulpa. They both opted to come down early and really force their hand when it came to that final pit stop, and that's something that really comes into play here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA series, as we have tire limits that are maybe a little bit lower than what we run in the main Elite series.
I'm hoping that this thing runs green to the end because I want to see the fuel mileage and the strategies play out and pay off and see what happens.
One guy I'm watching here, Chris, is this driver right here on screen, the 24 of Michael Hosick. He's worked his way up inside that top 5, and he's on the same strategy as Jacob Adams.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Jake fall back. I wonder if he's used his tires up, if he's still trying to save a little bit.
I think he's still trying to save a little bit of tire here, so he maybe doesn't have to pit, or he has a little bit extra at the end compared to some of these other guys. He can make it on fuel, of course, but he wants to make sure he has that tire, and I think that's kind of what Jacob Adams is doing. But looking at Michael Hosick, great run for that number 24 car.
Yeah, and he's a guy that's had speed at times and hasn't quite gotten the payoff. I remember at Charlotte last year in the Gen 4 race in our accidental Gen 4 race last year.
He got the pole, didn't he?
One of those really fast guys out there, so...
Yeah, it's really cool to see how these drivers adapt to the different car. You might not necessarily see somebody run up front in the ARCA, but we get over to the Gen 4 car, and all of a sudden they're a driver to watch. And just of note here, Alex Gray did come down pit road with heavy right side damage, spent a minute in his pit box, now working his way back onto the racetrack, as we are going to come to 20 to go next time by. Your race leader is Trey Eidson by 0.7 of a second over June White in the 05. Leighton Norgard running there in third. Jake Kaner.
I think Jake Kaner's about to pit. I think the 9 car is about to pit right here.
And here he comes. Jake Kaner to pit road. Pits from 4th. We'll keep an eye on that, guys. See if anyone else opts to come down pit road here. I don't know that you'll see drivers such as Trey Eidson, Leighton Norgard, Michael Hosek, Jacob Adams, or even June White opt to come down pit road. If anybody from this top 5 does come down pit road, I think it would be a race leader, Trey Eidson.
And we're joined by a team manager here for Mountain Man tonight, Nick Massey, and he's running some fuel numbers. What's it looking like out there, Nick? You guys good to go on fuel here to the end? You guys got to save a little bit? What's it look like?
Oh, looks like the car sideways that enters pit road. Got me a little nervous, but yeah, I think we are one of the few cars that are good to go to the end. So cross our fingers. Hopefully no more retaliation out here. Hopefully we can finish this under green flag and get a solid finish for the O2 out here.
Yeah, so the O2 is good to go as well, and the 52. Both cars good to go?
I don't know about the 52.
Trey Eidson to pit road, folks. Trey Eidson,
There's
race
our
leader coming
Nick.
down.
Are you liking this? Are you liking what you're seeing right now?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised a lot of those guys didn't come back down and top off with how close it was going to be. You know, we had that long run to start the race, went just about halfway green, and I'm just a little surprised they didn't top off right there.
William White, Ray Bracey, Hunter Smith also down pit road.
They need somebody like you out there watching, man. They need some engineer out there kind of working the numbers. Are you available for hire?
Ooh, I don't know about that. Depends how much they're paying.
$10
Per race or for the season?
per calendar year.
Oh, for the calendar year?
As we take a look, Trey Eidson does exit pit road one lap down to June
and
White.
Can you let me know here? Do you have the information here, Robert? Are they taking their tires as well?
They're absolutely taking tires. Looking at their pit stops, each one of them. Trey may have taken 2 tires.
So that means
He spent 10 seconds on pit road compared to William White's 15-second stop.
So I'm sitting here. If I'm Nick Massey and I'm managing a couple cars, I am knowing that even if a caution comes out, you know, our strategy is still better than theirs because we're going to have new tires to put on and they don't.
That's exactly it, but you're also kind of approaching that point where do you pit?
Green,
I
white,
don't
checker.
know.
If I got tires,
Robert
I'm
Smith
putting them
down
on.
pit road.
What do you think, Nick? Caution comes out, green, white, checkered. You got tires sitting. You putting them on?
I think so. Given how many guys are going to be on fresh tires, probably just get ran over, I think. That'd be a tough call, though. Hopefully we don't get that. Hopefully I don't have to make that call, but we'll see. Hopefully we just finish this thing out green.
Well, all right, Nick. We'll let you get back to work. Thanks for coming over and giving us a minute of your time, and good luck to you and the Mountain Man squad out there tonight.
Oh, actually, before I head out of here, did any of you guys interview the 88? Is he all right? He took a nasty flip back there.
We did not get a chance to interview him. We interviewed Michael Goodman, who was the one that basically sent him up for a flight, but unfortunately could not talk to Cam Barnes. Hopefully he's okay.
I think he's still in the medical center down there getting looked at.
As Kendall Player nearly gets into that of Connor Thompson, that got a little close.
All right, well, I'll let you guys finish out the last 15 laps or so here.
All right, Nick, thanks for your time here tonight, and best of luck to your drivers.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
That was Nick Massey up here in the booth with us, of course, calling the shots tonight for Jamie Haley and Jacob Adams. Both of those drivers up around the top 5. Haley in 6th, Adams in 5th. Your top 10 as they run now, folks. Late in the going, 13 to go. June White, your race leader. Leighton Norgard, 2nd. Michael Hosek in 3rd. White Canadal in 4th. Jacob Adams, 5th. Jamie Haley in 6th. The battle's on for 4th. White Canadal has a rear end full of Jacob Adams. Kendall Player in 7th. Connor Thompson, 8th. Garrett Sidnor in 9th. And Cash Money Jim in 10th. That is Cash James of Pit Pass Network.
We're in for an exciting last few laps, like you heard Nick say. They're even close. They were even close when they pitted, you know, and topped off. So we'll see what happens here. I feel like June is probably pretty good with the caution, even though he didn't pit. But he went
Andrew
pretty far that
Hardcastle
first
coming down from 11th right now, Chris. Just an FYI. So we're getting closer and closer to that top 10.
Yeah, we're about to figure some things out right here. We're about to figure out
everybody,
who was good and who made
everybody that's inside the top 11 right now pit on either 47 or 48, with the exception of June White, who pit on lap 44. So June White is the only one I would think is close on
if
fuel.
he can't save this run like he could last round.
He absolutely cannot, because he's only 0.7 of a second ahead of a Leighton Norgard, and he's pulling away. So I think June White's pushing it now.
Tell you what, we're in for a fascinating last 10 laps. It's going to be a throwback to, I don't know, what year was it? 2004, 2005?
10 to go.
Tony Stewart ran out of gas here and coasted the whole last lap, basically. Still won the thing.
That's exactly it. And one thing to watch for as well is we have multiple drivers on fresh tires trying to work their way back up through the field. When you have fresh tires versus old tires, that can often play into a potential yellow. Somebody's going to push a little bit too hard, maybe on the old tires, and not be able to get out of the way, or somebody on fresh tires just dives in there with no care in the world, and all of a sudden we have a big caution that changes everything. And we're definitely hoping that that does not happen.
Yeah, we're hoping. Yeah, I'd love to see a fuel mileage race play out here and see what happens.
One thing I want to point out here is if June White ends up making it on gas, that's going to be impressive, considering that we were tight making it to halfway, and he did pit before halfway. We've only had one caution, so that's definitely going to play a factor here. But a Leighton Norgard really closing that gap. I think June White backing off of it a little bit, trying to save some fuel.
Yeah, I just went and rode on board with him to see if he was shutting it off. He is not really, in my opinion, he's not saving any fuel right now.
We're going to pull up the dashboard here, and you can see June White accelerating through the corners. So, no, you're correct. No lifting, really, out of June White, as they do come to take 7 to go here at Chicagoland. Of course, round number 3 of the Pit Pass Network ARCA series. It is June White, a Leighton Norgard, Michael Hosick, the top 3, Wyatt Canadle, Jacob Adams, the top 5, Jamie Haley, Kendall Noah Player, Connor Thompson, Garrett Sidnor, and Cash James, the top 10. There goes Robert Smith to the inside of June White to take 1 lap back.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out here to Kendall. I know there's still 6 laps to go, but Kendall's having a really solid run tonight. He was on the right side of the strategy. And I think, like I said, even if there's a caution, these guys are the guys that are in control now. At least the other guys that we've already seen pit, they've given up control of this race, no matter how it shakes out.
That's exactly it. Mark Rubilis comes pit side from the 20th position. So another pit stop here, coming to 5 to go for June White. Let's see if they can make it around.
5 laps. Who's got the fuel? Who's got the tires?
There's a couple guys I want to give a shout out to with 5 to go. Of course, June White in their debut. Leighton Norgard doing a nice job in second. Michael Hosick here in third. Looks like he's finally going to get himself a really decent finish. Knock on wood here in this Pit Pass Network ARCA series. Jamie Haley shown great improvements through the first couple rounds. Kendall Player, like you mentioned, up 21 spots. Connor Thompson up 21 spots as well. Garrett Sidnor up 15 here. So a lot of our rookies in this series showing big gains here tonight, as we are 4 to go, coming to 3 for June White.
Yep. And he's got a lap car trying to work around him here who is on newer tires.
That is William White working their way by June White up on the high side. Both of these drivers, international drivers. Not related, though. William from the UK, June from the Dominican Republic. 3 to go. That is just 12 more turns. And yes, I did do that math myself. Thank you very much for the number 05 machine of June White, en route to potentially picking up victory number 1. William White in the wall.
This is not what you want if you're the leader.
That's a frightening moment there, as June White coming around to take 2 to go now, just ahead of a Leighton Norgard. Norgard really closing that gap. Norgard in the same camera shot now, about 0.4 of a second back. We're going to have to watch a Leighton Norgard here. Just 2 to go. A Leighton Norgard 0.1 of a second back from the 05. There was contact on lap 85 between the 69 machine of Mark Murphy and the 1 of Wyatt Canadle. That was deemed a racing incident, as we have a battle for the race lead. A Leighton Norgard coming up to the rear of June White. If these two get together, it's Michael Hossack's race to win, as we're coming around to take the white flag this time by.
One more of what does Leighton have here in the tank? And what does June have in the tank as well?
As we jump up to our chopper, it's a Leighton Norgard on the inside, June White on the high side. White currently your leader, coming around to the back straight for the final time. Lap cars up ahead. That might come into play. That's the 42 machine of John Peterson and the 43 of William White. A Leighton Norgard now jumps up to the high side. I think June White's going to have it off of turn number 4 for the final time. Norgard in the wall. It's going to be June White picking up their first career victory here in the Pit Pass Network ARCA Series. June White first, a Leighton Norgard second, and rounding out the podium, the man from Canada, the 24 of Michael Hossack. What a podium right there, Chris.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Jacob Adams in 5th, Jamie Haley, Kendall Player, Connor Thompson, Garrett Sidnor, Cash James rounding out the top 10.
And just to point out here, Connor Thompson, Cash James, both of these drivers got EOLs on the start of tonight's race due to banners. So really cool to see these drivers up here at the end of tonight's event, up in the top 10. But let's watch June White burn it down, their first career victory. Chris, I don't even know if June White is a member of the Elite Discord, so I'm not sure if we're going to get an interview.
He's out of fuel. We're not going to get a burnout. He just said he's out of fuel.
Wow. That was a race and a half here as we work to get our podium finishers up here into the booth. We're going to take one final commercial break as we work to gather up the podium finishers, and we'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Tonight, Chicagoland 135 just wrapping up here. Your top 3 finishers again, Michael Hossack, Leighton Norgard, and June White. Does look like we have our top 2 standing by in the waiting room. So we're going to go ahead and pull up Leighton Norgard, your runner-up finisher here tonight, standing by with Chris Wright.
All right, I am now joined by a Leighton Norgard. Man, you almost got there in time to make a pass. You ran him down. Did you think he was going to run out of fuel? Did you think you were good to go? How was the strategy play there?
I was good on fuel. I had a couple laps worth left. I figured he would probably be able to save. He was planning on it from the start, and that yellow was only going to help him with it. So it was. I wasn't sure I was going to catch him, but in that last 2 to go, he had a bad front stretch or something, and I got on his bumper. I should have gone to the outside to try and pass on the last lap, but went on the inside and then just couldn't get a run down the back, and that kind of decided it.
And talk us through the race tonight. That was the first of the Gen 4 races of the season. I think 3 more are on the schedule. So what'd you think about the Gen 4 race compared to the typical ARCA car that you guys race?
I enjoy it. It's pretty tough with all the power. It's easy to get the rear end loose, and it's just kind of managing that the entire run. It's a game of who can get on the throttle earliest out of the corner some of the time, it feels like. And I fell into a trap of just pushing too hard sometimes and used up my tires, especially on that first run. But I tried to just stay calm. I knew it was going to be a long second stint if I was going to have any shot at the race. If it wasn't a long stint, I was going to be towards the back. So that gamble paid off. So that's good for me.
Well, all right, Leighton, congrats on your top 3 tonight. Before we let you go, are there any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give?
Just the usual shout out to my teammates on Abbott Motorsports, William White, Andrew Hardcastle. Corey wasn't able to be here tonight, but yeah, it was a good race, a lot of fun.
All right, and that was your second place finisher, Leighton Norgard, tonight. Leighton, congratulations once again, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
All right, Chris, I'm going to bring in Michael Hossack, and I'm going to talk to him here, our third place finisher. Michael Hossack, you got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
What a great run for you tonight, coming home in the third position. Where'd you come from?
Well, kind of made a mistake there on that caution that came out. I was just coming in to top off on fuel, and right before I got to my pit box, I tried to uncheck my tires, and unfortunately, or fortunately, they took them, so I had no tires left, so I needed it to go green, and luckily it did, so I could drive up through the field there with probably 3 or 4 laps fresher tires than the rest of the guys. But I burned them up by the time I got to the top 5, so I had nothing left for the top 2 there.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this would be your best career elite finish. Is that correct?
No, I have a couple second place finishes on the plates, but probably my top finish of a non-restrictor plate track for sure.
So definitely a very strong run for you tonight. I've picked you to win a couple times. I decided tonight I'm not going to pick you. I'm going to give you an opportunity to not be jinxed, and it worked out. You got yourself a podium finish, but looking ahead at the schedule, we go to Watkins Glen next week, and then, hey, you mentioned that you're a pretty good plate racer. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to go to Daytona. How you feeling about those next 2 races?
I definitely feel good about the next one and Daytona. Yeah, I feel really confident on the plate tracks, and I'm a really good road racer, so I'm not sure how a lot of the other guys stack up on the road courses, but I feel really good on the road, so I feel like we definitely have a solid top 5 car for Watkins Glen. I feel really good about that.
Well, I'm going to congratulate you once again on a very solid finish, and I'm going to hand it over here to Chris Wright, see if he has any questions for you.
Okay, thanks.
I got really no questions there after what you said. It was a great run tonight for you, Michael. It was nice to see you get the run. Of course, racing with you, I knew that you had speed, just had to put it all together. And some races last year, specifically the Gen 4 races, I thought you were a guy that ran really well in those races. Well, I think one last year, right? It was Charlotte, and you ran pretty strong in Charlotte. So no surprise. Good luck to you. Congrats on the run, and I expect we'll be seeing a lot more of you here the coming weeks of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when it comes to the Gen 4 car, it's just about keeping your right front on it, and just being easy the first 10 laps of a run, and wait for the other guys to kind of fall off, and then it's really noticeable in this car.
Well, Michael, before we let you go here tonight, any sponsors you want to thank? Any shout-outs you want to give?
Oh yeah, I definitely got to shout out my sponsor, Mark Rabilis at Rabilis Photography. Good buddy of mine, sponsors all my cars, so without him, none of this is possible. So really happy to have him on board, really happy to have him as one of my best buddies, and I can't wait to share a podium with him one of these days. But unfortunately, he fell short on the strategy play tonight and ended up being not on the lead lap. Probably didn't anticipate going green to the finish after that last caution.
All right, Michael, congratulations once again on your podium finish, and we'll see you next week at Watkins Glen.
Yes, sir. We're going for it.
Let's do it. That was Michael Hossack, our third place finisher here tonight, and standing by with Chris Wright is our first-time race winner, June White.
Well, June, congrats on the win tonight. Kind of came out of nowhere. Kind of like the Randy Orton RKO there. So take us through your night, and ultimately you went the furthest out of anybody as well on the fuel strategy on the first run. So did you have any fuel concerns coming to the end?
We for the green flag, the plan was, well, Trey honestly was an absolute rocket ship on those long runs. I knew if it went green, it was probably going to go to him. So I guess it was just trying to switch up the strategy, and I knew that the one stop was possible, so just try to stretch it out as long as I could, and I was gonna maybe try to make it the extra lap on fuel that second stint. But then the caution came out, and I knew if I turned off the engine, maybe I had enough for just to stay out and make it in, and that's basically how it played out. Fortunately, kind of unlucky for Trey not to get the win there, but played the strategy game and survived that late push by late, and really happy about how that turned out.
So how hard did you have to save fuel that first run to stretch it as far as you did?
Well, I didn't really save that first half of the run, and then the last half of the run I was clutching I was clutching a decent bit, and then I had to clutch a little hard at the end because I didn't want to leave like 0.7. I had like 43.7 laps of fuel, and I didn't want to leave that 0.7 in, so I had to clutch really hard those last couple laps.
So did you know coming into tonight that you were going to have a shot to win? Was it a surprise to you like it was to the field? And are you sticking around with us? You're going to be back next week, and how does that thing turn into the right instead of just the left?
Not the best road course racer, honestly. I thought I had a shot, but I didn't think I was the fastest person in the field. I don't think I am the fastest person in the field. So it was just about holding my spot, not making any silly mistakes. I did hit the wall a couple times, but thankfully nothing major. And it was just about being in a good enough spot to have the strategy play available to me when it did come. So I think we had solid speed. We might have solid speed next week, but I would not count on a June White repeat for next week.
Well, all right. Congrats on your first win. And before we get to your sponsors, and I'm going to hand it over to Robert Hill, first-time winner, see if Robert's got anything for you.
Yeah, June, congratulations on the victory here tonight. Obviously, a brand new name here to the Elite Racing League, but outside of the ARCA series, what are your goals here in Elite? Do you want to stick around, move up, maybe in the Truck Series, Xfinity Cup, maybe even the Indy, the open wheel side of things? Can't say that name, but what are your plans here in Elite? Are you going to stick around for a while with us?
Yeah, when I signed up, I said I wanted to do trucks and cups. I've been looking around at the kind of like organizational, just however the leagues are set up, and I really like the structure, and I just want to see how it goes. Maybe have I think the way that the league's set up, where you have to run a few races in ARCA and trucks, and then you move up. It's a great way to get a preview of what you're going to get in the other series. And if the racing is like it's been in the ARCA series, then I think I'll have a lot of fun in the league.
Absolutely. It's always a great time here in Elite. But before we let you go here tonight, any sponsors you want to thank or shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, I wanted to shout out, first and foremost, Diego Valle for that paint scheme, that 09 Brad Kozlowski paint scheme, bit of a throwback. I like it. They're not 09, I guess 05 here, but it's the same paint scheme. Jonathan Oates runs Austral. Austral is a cool league. I don't think it conflicts with any of the leagues you run. Sorry if it does. And shout out to Justin Yee, makes ARCA truck, C-Fix, B-Fix tutorials, really a bit of everything. For qualifying, just fixed setup stuff, just really useful. I got to, it just really helped me a lot with my speed to improve. And yeah, thankful to all those guys for supporting me, and thanks for all the help that they've given me all this time.
Always great to have supporters in your corner, and congratulations once again on a very strong debut here tonight, and we'll see you next week at Watkins Glen.
See you.
All right, Chris, that was your race winner, June White, and sounds like he's here to stay.
Yeah, and winning that first race out, that's got to be a big booster there. It was a great race tonight. We saw lots of green flag racing. The only caution was the hit piece that was out there. So it was an exciting race, great fuel strategy. You know, we've seen the guys, nobody ran out. Everybody either decided they could make it or they couldn't make it, and it kind of moved the strategy around. But it's really exciting Gen 4 race. I can't wait to get to the rest of the Gen 4 races. But before we do all that, we got Watkins Glen next week, and I'm really excited to see what happens here on the road course.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to Watkins Glen next week. And, next week, it's going to be a busy week for us here in the Elite Racing League. Obviously, tomorrow night, come on right back here, 8 o'clock. It is the 400-mile Brickyard race. That'll be myself and Johnny Thomas, and I believe a couple others will join us for that one. Also in the Gen 4. It's going to be a cool money race for these guys. Then Thursday night, come on back. It's going to be Dave Huckleberry, Johnny Thomas, and I think you, Chris, on the Open Wheel Series at Iowa.
Hey, I hope after the 400 miles I'm up here talking tomorrow night too.
Yeah, that would definitely be cool. Interview you. But Thursday night, Dave Huckleberry going to take over the reins of the Open Wheel Series. I'm out of town actually doing some real world open wheel racing stuff.
Why don't we talk about that for a minute? What are you doing this weekend, Robert? Go ahead and tell everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to be working with the IndyCar Radio Network. I had a chance to work with Mark Janes for our Open Wheel 500 earlier this season, and the opportunity came up to work some of the practice sessions this weekend in Toronto for the Honda Indy Toronto with the IndyCar Radio Network. So cool opportunity there. Excited to have the opportunity to do that and work with the great group over there and develop my craft a little bit. So that'll be exciting. Tune in on Sirius XM IndyCar Nation. You can tune in on the IndyCar Radio website, IndyCar app, any of the local stations that are carrying the IndyCar Radio feed as well. Come and check it out. But aside from that, here on the Elite Racing Network, Monday night is the Elite Clash at Daytona. Chris and I will be behind the wheel in that series. That'll be really fun. And then Wednesday, we're going to go qualifying and run our duels to set the lineup for the 2023B Daytona 500 in the Join APS.com Cup Series. And then next Sunday night is the 2023B Truck Series opener, the Daytona 250 in the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series. So it should be a great week of events here on the Elite Racing Network. And once again, really, we have to thank all of our partners here, TA Services, Blue Egg Marketing, as well as iRacing.com, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Rabilas Photography, Chad Frankenfield, Dave Huckleberry, yourself, Chris, John Cutlip, everyone else behind the scenes that helps us put this on. Thank you, and thank you to the fans at home for tuning in here tonight. And Chris, before we sign off, any final thoughts from you?
Just excited that the Elite stuff is back going. I feel like it's been forever, but it's only probably been 2 or 3 weeks. I'm ready to get back in it, get back after it, and chase some trophies and have some fun on these broadcasts.
It's going to be one hell of a week, and I can't wait to have you all along with us. But for Chris Wright and myself, Robert Hill Jr., this has been another production of the Elite Racing Network. We thank you for joining us here tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow night back at the Brickyard. Have a good night, everybody.